Hi, this is Ohfor. Let's build a new mod. Before we begin, I just want to make clear we're not really continuing the modding with Ohfor series here, although it's related, I guess. But this is going to be a long form video where I basically have this idea. I want to create a mod, and rather than just me sitting alone in darkness and sulking away, I figured I'd share the process with you all. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It really depends on how quickly I will be able to sort of get all the things sorted out. But I invite you along for the journey. So the idea is I want to create a bag of devouring. So a normal looking small sack that devours objects placed inside it. Now, why would I do such a thing? Well, the problem often is that if you're mid-game and you've used a mod and you spawned in some items and you've decided you want to get rid of the mob for whatever reason, you just can't. You can try, but removing a mod mid-flight in any game, in any playthrough, is usually considered a no-no. And mods are very much a one-way street, and especially so if you have items from the mod in your inventory, or they are at a vendor or in any other location, you've dropped them on the ground. As long as they're saved in game, they're going to be a problem for you. So I wanted to create a bag of devouring where you can put stuff in and then it will be gone forever. So it will be gone from your save file, and therefore, at least in theory, it should be safe to uninstall the mod and move on with your life. So why don't we try and do that? So first thing first, we are going to need our bag, the main character of the story, and pretty much the only character of this story. So I'm thinking some kind of pouch, maybe. I don't really want to go with a backpack for this. I don't know, it just feels wrong. See if we can find something. So let's see, alchemy pouch. Yeah. Leather pouch. Oh, that's pretty nice. Filled. I don't see any difference at all here. An old one. Oh, that's something else entirely. General pouch, loot. Nah, that doesn't look so good. Oh, Gale's pouch. Yeah, sure, but I don't want people confusing a real in-game object. That this could be quite disastrous. Okay, so I think this one will do us nicely. So let's grab it. Create new from selected. And this is going to be, so this is a real mod, Ohfor, and then bag of devouring pouch. That should make it clear. So normally I tend to leave the original name in there, but for this, I know that this is going to be referenced in many different locations in the mod, and it's just going to be too much typing, so we'll go with this. Here we go. And then we select our pouch. So this is the bag of devouring. It's going to need a lore description as well. Didn't I come up with something clever in here? Yeah. A normal looking small sack that devours objects placed inside it. Simple as that. I'm going to copy that. I do wonder if more warning signs and alarm bells should be here, because whatever the intention is, whatever is being put in here, it will be devoured. I'm sorry, that's the bloody point. But people are sometimes behave in unpredictable ways. So what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, it is what it is. Let's see, what else do we need? So it's a base container movable. Visual resource is fine. That's why we picked it to begin with. We are going to need some stats for it. Description law, we have that. I don't think anything else is required other than, let's see, so the stats for it is a generic loot item, and it's parented to loot. I don't think that will allow us to put anything in the bag. I don't think we can interact with the bag the way we intend, so we are going to have to make our own stats item. That's fine. So we go here, this is an object, and then we're going to go OHF bag holding pouch. The parent would be container, and the root template will be, let's go grab that, this GUID. Right. So what else do we need? So it wouldn't be, this wouldn't be unique or anything like that. Nevertheless, I will set it anyway, min level 1 as well. And then I guess we just need to make it legendary. Let's see if I can find that quickly. Rarity, here we go. Legendary, the weight, default 5, no. Let's say 0.5. Value preview, value override. Anybody who knows me knows the story behind why I set that to 7. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So that should be the stats. Let's save that quickly. And then I'm going to copy that and go back to our pouch. Paste that in. All right. Save the root template. And we should be off to a good start. I'll just double check. Bag of Devouring. Our own stats. Oh, did I call it Bag of Holding? Seriously? No, that's... yeah, no, that's not going to fly. Bag of Devouring. There we go. And copy that. And then we pay. No. You don't get to do that with me today. Okay, reload the stats, please. So the editor freezes for a second. Oh, come on. Did I not save that? No, maybe I didn't. That would explain it. If it hasn't been saved, then no amount of reloading stats will do the trick. So tools, reload the stats. It is extremely stubborn. Aha! So now it's realized there's no bag of holding. Then maybe, yes, now it accepts my bag of devouring. Good. And we're waiting for the save to complete. Okay. So we are off to a good start. Time to move on. So the idea here, one might say, well, having a bag of devouring is all fine and well, and if you're playing tabletop, that's probably fine. You would have that bag in your party's inventory somewhere. Somebody would be carrying it, and you could throw stuff in there, and it would be gone. However, that is not how I intend to implement this. I think having a bag like this in the inventory, there's several reasons why I wouldn't want that, or having it in the inventory at all times. I wouldn't want that because, first of all, players might send it to camp or might do all kinds of stuff with it that isn't really intended, and then they don't have it around when they need it, or maybe they sell it to a vendor as junk. It's just a terrible idea. The second aspect being, I am well aware that when messing about with all the containers one has in game, it might be mistaken for the alchemy pouch or whatever. I don't really know. But the risk of it is that you put stuff in there and it just disappears, and, and that'll be that. It's a bit dangerous. So I'm thinking I'm going a different way with this, and I want it to be a bag you summon, and then it stays with you for a number of rounds. Let's say 5 or maybe 10 rounds, and in that time you can move whatever you want into it, and move stuff in and out for that matter, as long as it stays spawned, and then when it despawns, it will be gone. That's the idea anyway. So I don't know how easy this will be to implement. There are a couple of things that concern me a little bit, that I don't fully know how I'm going to implement, and that's likely going to be the hardest part, or maybe even the easiest part of the mod, because maybe the answer is to do nothing. But imagine summoning the bag and then putting some stuff in there, and then the bag despawns. That's fine. But when you then summon it again, will the game sort of clear up the loot table for it? Will I need to create an empty treasure table? I see. I don't really know how that works, if I'm completely honest. So container contents and how that is managed is definitely something that's going to need some looking at. And actually, that's probably my only real concern here, at least to begin with. But let's see as we start peeling this onion and see what kind of trouble we get into. So, to start with, how do we summon an item? Well, as I've said many times in my modding videos, start by picking something that does pretty much what you like. So, and there's two things that spring to mind. We have the druid, what's it called? Goodberries? Goodberry summon? Something, goodberries. They essentially summon an item into the inventory. So that's a place to look. Cleric also has something that they get at level 11 maybe, or 12, pretty high, where they spawn a good meal, but it differs in that it basically gives your party a buff, or anyone within range, and then it spawns a container at a location near you that you can then do it, where there would be camp supplies in. So that's very different. So it's going to be good berries that's sort of going to be the initial base for our summon spell for this bag. So why don't we get started on that? Let's go take a look at good berries. Yeah, I can't actually recall, but it's something with good anyway. So let's see. Good berry. Yeah, let's see what we can find. Okay, good berry. So hang on, is this? Let's see what we have here. So this is a target spell, shared. Okay. So I think we have, yeah, and can also be upcast. So this is definitely the spell and not the item Goodberry, which is exactly what we're looking for, because I have zero interest in the actual berries. I'm just interested in figuring out how does this spell work. And so Goodberry, transmutation spell level 1, that's fine. And spell properties. Okay. This looks simple enough. Someone in inventory A GUID, so that's going to be a root template of some kind. -1, so this is probably number of turns, or yeah, that makes sense. Number of turns, and then 4 would be number of good berries, and then I have no idea what these 3 are. So a good thing, so someone in inventory. Let's see if we can find that being used elsewhere. That could maybe give us a clue. So we have something here, flame blade. Here they are set to true. So here we see 10 turns. I can't remember the flame blade, but it seems reasonable. 1 item. And then true, true, true. Okay. Packed up the blade. So maybe, okay. So it seems there's a lot of stuff we can do here. So packed up the blade, great sword will so permanent, one of them, true, 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 and then I'm guessing packed blade would be the item. Or maybe the passive. Okay. So it does seem that setting them to true. So what I'm realizing is that a good berry, once it has been spawned to your inventory, okay, some experimentation will be required here because yeah, welcome to modding. We don't have all the answers. Nevertheless, summon to inventory seems to be the key here. It gives us a starting point. And the Goodberry spell, so that's a target spell. So the druid can cast this spell, and then it will drop good berries into the people. So it can probably, as I recall, it can target 3 people on level 1. Let's see if we can find a number of targets. No. So it has to be a player, not dead, and not a summon, but nothing with amount of targets, so that's not it. Let's see what else we can learn about this spell. So it has an icon. That's fantastic. We don't care about that right now. Description parameters. So this is the effect of a good berry. Spell cast summon good berry. So it has a special sound. We can probably get away with using that sound. That's probably fine. Cycle conditions, action points, and spell slot group. So it's definitely not going to cost a spell slot, but an action point seems fine. And some animation. That's very likely we're going to just steal that, because that's a summon animation. It's probably applicable elsewhere. Spell prepare cost. If this is a spell that needs to be prepared. No, that's definitely not it. And then the upcasting information, prepare effect. Okay. We will be seeing that. But we do not want, or do we? Let's think for a minute. Do we want this to be a target spell? Or do we want it to be a shout? So, difference being, a shout would be you cast a spell and then it appears in your own inventory. So that's for a shout spell. And for a target spell, you cast a spell, you target someone, and the item appears in their inventory. I think I mean, both make sense, I guess. But no, I do believe. I wonder if we can make a shout spell. Actually, I mean, we can make this spell on our own. I can't quite decide what I like the best here. Okay, to keep things simple, we're gonna base our summon spell off Goodberry, which means it's going to be a target spell. I might change my mind on that later. But there are more important things in life, so we are going to create a spell based on Goodberry. So for that, we are going to need a target spell or target spell list. So we're going to create a spell. It's going to be Ohfor, Bag of Devouring, summon pouch. The parent would be Goodberry. Okay. So now we just need to make it not Goodberry, in the sense. So someone in the inventory. We need to find the GUID of our pouch, from the looks of it, and then we are going to paste that in here to replace the Goodberries. And so for -1, no, I'm assuming this is round, so I'm gonna set it to 5. I only want one of them, and then I'm not fully clear with these 3. I have a sneaky suspicion that we need to set them to true, because then they will probably maybe have something to do with despawning. We don't know. Welcome to modding. I've said this before. We don't have all the answers. Sometimes we need to experiment a bit to figure out what works, what doesn't. What else do we have that we need to worry about? Player, not dead and not summon. Okay. Icon, we leave for now. Display name, Goodberry. Okay, so display name is Bag of Devouring. And description. Conjure Bag of Devouring. Oh, now it's doing that thing again. Description params. No params here. That's not definitely okay. So this is supposed to clear it, but it doesn't. This is one of these things. So I'm inheriting from Goodberry, and then of course I'm getting everything. But if I want to clear a field, actually, let's see. Let me just save, because it could just be a case of toolkit malfunction. Cut that. Save. Nope. It's definitely clearly ignoring me. Okay, fine. I will put a space in there, see if that does it. No, it trims that out. Then I am just going to set that. And that should hopefully work. And tooltip damage list. Nope. None of that either. Tooltip upcast description, no benefit. Well, there's not going to be an upcast here, so it doesn't matter. Cast sound, relieve. Ally not dead. It's not going to cost a spell slot. Level 1, it's just going to cost an action point. What else do we have? Animation, stays, intent, summon. Yeah, that's fine. Magical, non-damage, spell prepare cost. I such as the one if this is a spell that needs to be prepared. I am a little bit unsure of what that is. I'll set it to 0. And prepare effect. Oh, so maybe it's related to. Okay. You know what? When in doubt, let's just leave it. See if it breaks anything for us. Damage type cold. That must be an inherited value because it doesn't do any damage. Okay. So we have a spell now. Bag of Devouring, summon pouch. And if everything is done right, then when we cast this spell, we should be getting a pouch. And it should stay with us for 5 rounds and then possibly despawn. Maybe, we don't know with these flags. It is time to test this out. So we're going to copy the name and then switch to game mode. Hello, Lacel. We are going to give you a spell. So I believe it's add debug spell, yeah. And then this, and probably need to target Lacel while doing it. Cannot find spell, unrecognized command. That is disappointing. Let's try that again. Oh, because it needs to be prefixed with target. My bad. Okay. So it does certainly look like a good berry here, and this is of course because we haven't changed icons or any artworks or whatever. And so the first thing I notice is it says 5 turns, so it definitely seems to have done something, right? Because 5 turns is what we expected. Let's open up the inventory and then cast it on Lacel. Will you look at that? We have a Bag of Devouring and 3 turns remaining. So we'll just wait for a bit. I'm thinking probably we should apply a passive to the caster as well. So we can, that would enable, oh look, that would enable us to see a little countdown. But interesting, the bag disappeared, and I'd say that's a fantastic start. So Lacel apparently has some books of debugging, and what are these actually? Okay, no one knows. So let's try summoning it again. Item received, Bag of Devouring. Let's open that. Throw some stuff in there. And wait. So now I'm thinking I should maybe have made it a few less rounds, but whatever, we can wait. Okay, so the Bag of Devouring is gone, so is the books. So the real question is, what happens when we summon it again? It would either come back with whatever was in it before, and then that becomes a challenge, or it will come back empty again. And if that's the case, we're almost done then. So let's see. So it's empty. Wow, will you look at that? So sometimes doing nothing is exactly what is needed. I'm curious, can I? No. That would be disastrous. No, but this is bound. We're not going to get rid of that. And wow. I think it's probably the first time in modding that something has just worked this well on the very first test. That is pretty excellent. Okay, so assuming this is all fine, it still needs a little bit more testing, but there's definitely some things that need to be taken care of. So first of all, it's Goodberry. We need a new icon. The cast effect is also, I noticed that when we cast it, a little Goodberry appears up here. That is probably not what we want. It doesn't worry me a lot. I could release the mod with that. But it's kind of like, but we can probably find another prepare effect for this. So it's not a Goodberry. I don't know what would make more sense, but we'll sort something out. The Bag of Devouring, however, looks good. I am going to try... Oh, now it's gone. The icon that this uses, I'm going to try to use that as the spell icon, because I'm lazy and I have no artistic talent. So that would be, what I would go for. And then take a little bit of a look at the prepare effect, the cast effect or whatever, so it's not a Goodberry. Maybe we can find something more generic. And yeah. So let's try that. So a few things come to mind. I mean, while it might be possible to use this icon, this is an item icon, and I know that the game sees item and spell/skill icons a little bit differently. But rather than worrying too much about it, let's just try it out. I think since it went so well with everything else, we can survive a little bit of a setback here if it doesn't quite go our way. So this is see here, it's in the shared icons items atlas. Atlas is a sprite sheet, for those who know that term. Otherwise, I have a video dealing with icons, so go look at that. So because it's a little bit much to explain here. But item, well, there's probably not a way to, property name, okay, there we go. I don't have a lot of faith in it, I'll be honest, but the price of entry is so low, I am definitely going to, what? That didn't give me what I expected. Copy value to, copy value to clipboard. So now I'm just being cheeky. I'm putting this icon in there. And I mean, we'll see. We will see. So a couple of things can happen. It will try and then figure out I'm using it. Oh, hang on. What did I just do? No, okay. Yeah, so I'm in the target spell list. So the game might completely ignore me, saying, you're an idiot, what are you doing? Or it might work, there's a slim chance of that, or it will partially work. I honestly don't know. But now we've set it, and I think it is time to get back in game. Oh. Not entirely unpromising, so look at that. We certainly have an icon. What we don't have is the tooltip. So if here you see the arrow, and so you see the big icon as well. We don't see that, and I'm pretty sure that also means that if we bring up the controller, I know many of you don't care, but I'm definitely not going to be releasing a mod deliberately that doesn't work with controllers. Now I just need my controller UI to wake up. Oh, I had this working earlier today. Why doesn't it work now? There's clearly something I don't understand. Oh, apparently every time we start game mode, we get another book of debugging. Okay. That is, however, not what we're after. So let's see, do I need to go into options, keybinds? As far as I know, it would automatically, it certainly did that earlier, automatically switch to controller mode when the controller was connected. I don't know why it doesn't do that. I say that a lot, don't I? Is it interface? I forget. So I often play with controller on PC. I'm probably the odd one out. I know many PC owners think it's absolutely ridiculous, but I do prefer the controller for many types of games. Baldur's Gate just isn't one of them. But I would expect it to work, nevertheless. Okay. You hear me clicking and nothing happening. Okay. Well, I mean, so an icon for a spell, there's 3 places it is used. One of them being in the toolbar, and we have that, which means it should also show up, I think, here, yeah. So it's unlocked here as well. So that's one place it's used, and then it's used in the top right corner of the tooltip here, and then it's used in the controller UI, which I, for some reason right now, can't activate. And so I'm guessing many of you might not even know that it was possible to activate controller UI in here, but it is. Just not for me, just not now. And I have really no idea why. Okay, but initially, the initial result is it worked. It's just not good enough, because we do need the other 2 icons to be working, and they don't. And the reason being that the icon I'm using is for an item, and it is expecting a skill. And so the problem being that there's basically 2 collections here: icons, skills, or maybe it's icons, spells, I forget. But that's one of them, and then the other one being items. And the big tooltip icon would be looking in the collection for spells or skills, I forget, but it would be looking elsewhere, so it wouldn't find it here. So that gives us 2 choices. Either I go and get creative and find a way to copy this icon and scale it to the different, because they need to be different sizes. Or alternatively, I find a spell skill in game that will act as a reasonable substitute, because then I wouldn't need to worry about that. So the big question is, with hundreds and hundreds of skills in game, is there one that would make sense for this? And also, not create confusion, because if we're using a skill icon, then there's obviously going to be a skill in there that somebody could have. So ideally I would need a skill that only an NPC had, but then that brings about the next question. Would they even create an icon for an NPC only skill? So many questions, right? I am going to, I know I said this was a long form video and I would record everything, but I'm going to have to go do a little bit of research, figure out what I can do here, what the options are. So I'll pause the video and I'll be right back. And I'm back. It took a little while, and I decided I would sit down and draw. No, I'm kidding. I really don't have artistic talent. So I made a hot date with an AI tool and a little bit of fiddling back and forth. And this is what we ended up with. So this is the transparent icon. There's also one that has a sort of a frame that would be appropriate for the tooltip. So now all I gotta do is get this ready and get it in game. And I will not be sharing that because I already have a video on that. It's quite an involved process, creating folder structures and whatever. So I'll see you in a minute when this is all set up. And I'm back. So I went through the process of creating the texture atlas. Yeah, anyway, it's there. I've set up the icons the way I believe they should, but it's so easy to make a mistake in this process. It's just a little bit finicky. Actually, I'm going to need, so Bag of Devouring Atlas. So here we have our icon. So this is fantastic, and the reason I need that is because I need the name. And secondly, no, let's leave that open. I should have fixed the controller issue. And by fixing, what I really mean is I closed the tool and opened it again. And sure enough, here we are in controller mode. So that's good. And we have Gale, whatever. We'll suffer it. So what needs to happen now is that we need to get our new icon hooked up. So we open the spell data and we go find the icon again where we put in the icon for the pouch, which wasn't really doing it for us. So now we have spell target Ohfor Bag of Devouring, our fancy new icon set, or at least I hope so. And I may need to restart the tool once again because I have found it to be very finicky when updating UI assets. It doesn't always take hold right away. But let's be optimistic. So we go back and we are going to need to give Mr. Gale so we'll add debug spell Ohfor. There we go. And voila. We have our Bag of Devouring with a tooltip icon. And hopefully it still works. I mean, I would be very surprised if not, because nothing else has been changed. So we get the bag. That looks the way it's expected. And all we need to do now is check the controller. As I've never played this game on controller, I'm a little bit lost when it comes to navigating the UIs. You'll just have to bear with me. Oh, I see it here. Let's get the mouse out of the way. So here we have the icon for our Bag of Devouring. So this should really be named Summon Bag of Devouring. That would make it a little bit clearer if the skill name was that, but it should work. Open inventory to view. Yeah, so you say, but how do you do that? Now, who would have thought opening the inventory would be so hard? I actually gave up and consulted a guide. So let's see if I am lucky. I should be able to hold this down and then select character sheet. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so let's summon a Bag of Holding. Then go here, and there it is, and I can open it. So I will never, somebody who's used to working with controller would probably very easily be able to put some stuff in there. What if I pick this up, hold down, actions, okay, I got nothing. I don't really know how to move around, but I've confirmed that the item does appear in the inventory. I can only assume there's a way to put something in bag using a controller, somebody who's actually used to doing it. So it's confirmed that we have the tooltip. It's slightly small. I might want to rescale it, but it's there, so that's fine. I'll quickly escape from controller mode because I have no business being here. That much is very obvious. So let's do this the old-fashioned way. Okay, excellent. Job done. There we go. Okay, so with that out of the way, we have the spell, and we have icons for it. It works. It does what it's supposed to do. The Bag of Holding the Bag of Holding. Why do I keep saying that? It's Anyway, Bag of Devouring appears and then disappears as expected. So what we need to do now is find a delivery mechanic or mechanism for learning that spell. But my, would you look at the time? I think this video has gone on long enough. Some would probably even argue too long. I know I normally stick to a 30-minute window for these videos, but I feel, creating a mod from ground up, that's a little bit more than can be covered by 30 minutes. So we need to have a look at delivery mechanisms, and I'll break that up into a separate video because that would be useful for many different things, not just mod here. So catch you on the next one.